Avoid Mahabharata like Vidur. Life Coaching Series. Everyone has to fight their own battles in life. But there's something greater that occurs within ourselves. We are always at war with ourselves. This war within is more important than the petty battles we see outside. Whether you acknowledge it or not, it is happening within you right now. There's a lot that goes on in our heads which goes almost unnoticed. It is this lack of awareness that is the root cause of most of our internal schisms as well as interpersonal conflicts. The great epic Mahabharata has a lot to offer for the inquisitive mind. Vidur is one of the most overlooked and sidelined characters of the Mahabharata in the psyche of the public. For starters, Vidur's main role was that of an advisor, minister and treasurer of the state of Hastinapur. He was the wisest of the three brothers, viz. Dhritarashtra, Pandu and himself. He is considered as a reincarnation of Lord Yama, god of death. He is said to have written the Vidur Niti, Aphorisms of Vidur, a treatise on statecraft, which is a first of its kind in ancient Indian history. Now, let us analyze his overall life events to have a greater insight into this great personality and learn about leadership. There are at least 10 things that leaders of today can learn from Vidur. 1. Always keep a low profile. Though of royal lineage, Vidura was born of a maidservant and hence denied the opportunity of becoming the king of Hastinapur. He was raised by Bheeshma along with his brothers and had no airs about himself being the wisest of all. Leaders who do not carry their weight around are the most successful in the long run. 2. Ethical conduct precedes everything else. Dhritarashtra had the strength of 10,000 elephants while Pandu was a master archer. Vidur excelled in Dharma Shastras, i.e. ethics and principles. There are many instances in his life where he displayed exemplary characteristics amidst turmoil. Great leaders never compromise on ethics, and that is what contributes to goodwill, trust and brand value. 3. Stay away from partisanship. When time came for coronation of an eligible king, Vidur knew that he would be ineligible as per the prevalent norms. Being the chief advisor, his vote was decisive and he could have easily sided with Dhritarashtra, who was blind and planned to rule with a remote control. Instead of behaving like a kingmaker, he voted for Pandu in all righteousness for the sake of the country. A leader must always be impartial and must not lean towards a particular team or department or employee just for the sake of selfish interests. 4. Always prefer equity over equality. When the time was ripe for marriage, he chose to marry the daughter of King Devaka, who too was born out of a Shudra, no reference to casteism here, mother. Here too, he could have preferred to marry a princess of royal birth but chose someone lower than his status. This indicates his decision-making abilities and weighing choices for a win-win situation, that are essential for a good leader. Leaders must seek equity over equality both in competition and partnerships. 5. Practice critical thinking. At the birth of Duryodhana, when asked by Dhritarashtra about inheritance since Pandu's son Yudhishthira was elder to his own son, Vidura observed certain omens and declared that the newborn be killed as he may bring calamity upon the kingdom. In a corporate setup, at the launch of a new project one needs to perform thorough risk assessment and at times abandon certain projects that might become the invisible elephant in the room in the future. The leader must also possess acute perceptive faculties to capture what others are missing to be able to foresee the outcome clearly beforehand. 6. Do not plan if you do not wish to execute. When Duryodhana invited Pandavas to stay at the Lakshagriha, palace made from flammable materials, with a plot to burn them all at once into ashes, Vidura sensed the ploy. He warned Yudhishthira about it and also arranged for a miner to dig an underground tunnel for them to escape safely. As an advisor, his job was over after warning the Pandavas about the impending danger, but he went ahead with the objective of rescuing them. Leaders these days are primarily responsible for planning and shift the responsibility of execution to the lower rung, which is not a very good example. If you are planning, you must be prepared to execute. In other words, the best leader is the one who can navigate as well as steer simultaneously. Most leaders are either good at planning or execution, and it is a rare view to see one who is good at both. 7. Do not be a sheeple. Vidura was the only character who vehemently opposed the gambling game, knowing that it would lead to distress, and openly objected to the insult of Draupadi in the court. Leaders need to voice their concerns to the whole team, including the top management, and must not remain silent when wrong decisions are being taken that are detrimental to the greater good of the organization. 8. Do not fear personal loss. Vidura advised Dhritarashtra to divide the kingdom between Kauravas and Pandavas to avoid an impending war, for which he was banished by the king. Eventually, Dhritarashtra realizes his mistake and invites Vidura back to the kingdom as the prime minister. Leaders often are unwilling to state facts as they are fearing undesired repercussions from the top management, which eventually leads to downfall of the organization. Genuine feedback may receive criticism initially, but one is rewarded eventually. 9. Do not engage in conflict. Vidura gladly accommodates Krishna when he rejects Duryodhana's offer of hospitality. Vidura was not bound to do so and could have added fuel to fire just before the beginning of the war. Leaders must try to avoid conflict at all costs, even if it means going a second mile. 10. Do not compromise. Vidura makes one last attempt to instill sense into Duryodhana after he rejects Krishna's peace mission. Duryodhana rebukes Vidura and insults him, which makes Vidura leave the kingdom immediately for a pilgrimage. Resourceful leaders must not compromise on objectives and not partake in wasteful expenditure at any cost. As can be seen from this POV, Vidura is the only character in the Mahabharata who expelled all his duties efficiently while avoiding conflicts at every stage. To know more and participate in my life coaching sessions like this one, Be Wise program TM, wisdom is always within, insights is not what you alone see, satiety is all around you, engineering of the self, click on the contact link provided in the description below.